Going live. We are live. We are live. Hello.
Hello. Oh,
Hi. Well, you are joining me here today live with our gorgeous Mel, who is also in the fabulous Nifty 50 Club now. We're in the 50s. Whoop, whoop, whoop. This is my inaugural live as a 50-odd-year-old woman now. I'm like, do I feel any different? Do I look any different? Like, has anything happened? Like, am I still
we don't know, do we? It's just the same as it was the day before.
just the same? But it feels like more powerful. So, and it's really funny because I don't know about you, but 50 was my scary age.
No, this year wasn't for me. For me, 30s was my scary age.
Was it?
40s was, I loved going into my 40th birthday for some reason, but 50s, it felt bigger, but it didn't feel as scary, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think that's because where I am now, overall, with everything that I've done with you guys, it feels like it's going to be my strongest decade yet.
It does. And I was looking around at like the women that we're surrounded by, and like so many of those women are in their 50s. Like, women who are absolutely crushing it and killing it. And they're like, I'm just getting started. And that is genuinely how I feel. Like, but years ago, I was like, oh my God. Like, I remember throwing my mum a 50th birthday party and thinking she was like old as the hills at the time. And I'm like, she so wasn't. And she was only young when she had me. But yeah, so I'm like, bring it on. Bring it on.
Absolutely.
And it's mad, isn't it? Like when you think of like your life as a people pleaser turning 40, because there's so many things I want to talk about today. But I was just saying to Mel before we came live, like we can't jump into kind of the where we are now, because when you have the backdrop actually of how much life has changed in that decade, it's like night and day, isn't it? Like for you and for me. But obviously we're here to talk about you today. But in your 40s, like turning into that decade, like people pleasing was a way of life for you, wasn't it, in so many ways, Mel?
Oh, 100%. And that's one of the biggest things that I reckon, and I'll talk a little bit about sort of how I've got to this stage, but that was one of the biggest things that was almost like an aha moment when I started working with you guys, is to how much emphasis I was putting on pleasing everyone else, and how much to a detriment to myself that was.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't realize it when you're in it.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's not until you start going back and looking at things that you think, oh my God. And it's the biggest thing is it's not those people that are controlling it. It's you that's allowing it to happen. So, that was a big realization that some things that happened in my life is, and I know you guys talk about this a lot, is, oh God, why is this happening to me? Being in victim mode all the time, when actually it was happening for me to get to where I am today. But also I was allowing that to happen. I was making the choices for that to happen to me, so to speak.
Yeah. But we don't know. Like, we just think it's how life is. We just think that's our role. You don't stop and question any of it, do you, when you're in it? Like, and I think so many people.
Becomes the norm, whatever the norm might be, if there is anything. There is such a thing as the norm. It was just the norm. But I think deep down, I knew with some situations, deep down, I knew that it wasn't right for me. It was crippling me. But I used to just block that out until 4 years ago. It was there wasn't any room to put anything else in it. So it all.
Right. Yeah, 100%. And I think what always strikes me, like when we meet you, when we meet other women who come and work with us and recognize that in ourselves, is I used to really hate myself for the people pleasing, because people could make, God, you're so strong, like you're so disciplined, like you've got such willpower, like anything you want to do, you set your mind to it. And I actually would hate myself because I'm thinking, I'm lying to all these people because I'm not really, like, I'm just telling you what I think you want to hear or see, or I just felt like a chameleon, like, a lot of the time, which I understand now. Part of that is like a superpower because I'm a reflector in human design. So I am often mirroring back what I'm seeing. But did you feel like that as well, Mel? Like, it's almost like you've lost yourself. You don't like yourself because you don't ever feel like you're being real because you're spending all of your time trying to keep everybody else happy.
Oh, 100%. And it's always that thing, isn't it, about, you don't know what goes on behind closed doors. So to the outside world, I was very confident. If they looked at my life 4 years ago, I had a really good job. I was married. I had a lovely house. And I think everyone used to think, oh, she's lucky. She's got like really lovely life. But actually, inside, I was crippling myself, absolutely crippling myself. But I used to put a mask on to everyone else, saying everything was all right. I never used to ask for help. That was another big thing that I've recognised since working with you guys, is that you can't ask for help. You've got to do it all yourself. I was being controlled in my marriage. I was being controlled in other areas of my life, but I was allowing that to happen to me. But yeah, it was but no one would know that because I would put a mask on, and if that my stoic answer to anything, oh, hey, oh yeah, no, I'm really good, thanks. Everything's, I used to had this outlook on life that you've always got to be positive, which that's great, but it wasn't real.
It wasn't real, right? Exactly.
I was bodying it. I was saying things, but I certainly wasn't feeling those things.
That's so true. I forgot how much I used to do that until you said, do you know what I mean? It's like, everything's fine. It was just like this gut. And then I would just hate myself even more for the lies. And it's so interesting now, isn't it? Because we speak about speaking your next level self into existence and embodying it and being it. And people think that's like acting as if, and it's not, is it? It's really the opposite. You've learned with all the work that you've been doing. Like, you have changed yourself inside out over the last 4 years and know the difference between acting something and processing versus like a spiritual bypass and putting a positivity plaster onto something. And it's uncomfortable, isn't it, walking through the dark night of the soul to get to the light on the other side of it?
Absolutely. I mean, it's that. I mean, for me, there was a catalyst for me. So 4 years ago, as I said, I had a really good job. I was married, had a beautiful house. I grew up in the most loving of families. And then it all changed. I mean, 2020, the world changed for all of us. COVID happened. My husband, or ex-husband, got stuck abroad. He used to work abroad quite a lot, got stuck abroad and never came home. So our marriage ended. And for a long time, until I came into your guys' world, I attributed that situation to being the reason that I was burnt out, I was crushed, I had a breakdown effectively, but I attributed that to being the main reason why that happened. Don't get me wrong, that was a part of it. But through working with you guys, I then started to break all of that down. And yeah, exactly like you said, it was uncomfortable as anything a lot of times. But the breakthrough, if you like, is how I started to sort of trace things back and could see that there was so much that I was putting the plaster on, so to say. I mean, I think I described it in another live with you guys where I imagine it as a suitcase, and you're putting all stuff into the suitcase, and then you get to the bit where you've got to push it down a bit, and so you can get a bit more in there and a bit more in there. And then I think that situation 3-4 years ago was the point where there was no room left in that suitcase, because everything that I'd put to one side from God knows how long back, there was no room for anything else. So that all sprung open.
Like Angela's case in the station in France, when we went going to the chateau and Angela's case burst open with all the stuff on the station. That was your life, wasn't it? It was like it just went kaboom. Like, no, we've done enough already. Here you go, have it.
And and it's true, when you start looking back, I could see that yes, whilst that situation was a part of it, it went way back. It went way back to I guess starting secondary school was the turning point for me, because I was always the person that I am now is the person that I was up until the age of probably 10, 11 years old. It all changed for me when I went to secondary school, and that was down to some bullying. I could see that whilst I had the most amazing childhood, my childhood was quite different, or was very different to all of my friends, because I grew up with a disabled sister. So that, and my mum and dad never made us feel any different to one another. Again, this was stuff I was putting on myself. That was very, very different for me, and I can see how now how the people pleasing took over, and also the never asking for help and the no boundaries, because I was constantly trying to make others proud. I was trying to please other people at work. At home, I was trying to, for me, I'd put myself in the situation where my sister she's a phenomenal individual, but she's disabled. She just doesn't have, or wouldn't have, the opportunities I would have to do different things. Dancing was a massive part of my life. My sister can't walk, she couldn't do that. So I think I was trying to please my mum and dad and make my mum and dad proud, not just for me, but trying to do it even more, because my mum and dad were never not proud of me. They're never not proud.
It's not that they've said, but there was something in you almost like, I'm trying to overcompensate and be overly responsible for being double or treble or bringing all of this that you as a little girl feel like they might feel like they're missing out on. So I have to be more of this.
And even down to career choices. I mean, for me, all I ever wanted to do I danced right up until I was the age of about 30. But back then, all I ever wanted to do was to be a dancer. I wanted to be on stage. That was what I wanted to do. My dad, God bless him, who's no longer with us, and he did it from a place of love. He did it, he had it with all the right intentions. Never wanted me to do that. His view on things was that I needed to go to college, I needed to go into business, I needed to have a sturdy career, because that wasn't going to be a sturdy career. And although in my whole being I didn't want to do that, I also didn't want to let him down. And I thought, well, that's what I've got to do. I don't want to let them down if that's what I've got to do. So I ended up in the office type world, and had sort of 28 years really in total, half of that being in travel and the other half being in corporate recruitment. And whilst I was very good at it, and I enjoyed my job, and I loved my jobs, but deep inside, although it wasn't at the forefront for going over many years, I knew there was something different out there for me. And whilst that stage might not be a West End stage now, I'm building my own stage, and I had to, and I don't say that this is the route that everyone needs to take, but I had to get to rock bottom to then start digging through all of that rubble to come through the other side. And that's not the most ideal way, but as my dear dad always used to say, and I use it all the time, all roads lead, and that was my path. And I had to go through all of that rubbish 3 or 4 years ago to get to the point to where I am now. And I now feel I'm back to being that 10, 11-year-old that's full of confidence, because that's what I lost. My marriage crushed my confidence, because my marriage was quite controlling, and because of my disbelief in myself and my imposter syndrome, I allowed things to happen in so many different situations that deep down I didn't want to allow, or I didn't agree with, and over time that just crushed my self-belief, it crushed my confidence, and I've gained all of that back now. I'm back to being the real Mel. And for my mum and dad were very different. My mum is and still is sort of quite shy individual. My dad was the life of the party, very confident, very ballsy, said what he thought. And for years I felt like I took more after my mum, because I was, say, to the outside I might have seemed quite confident, but actually I was quite shy. I didn't like social situations particularly. But now I can see how over all of those years that confidence was always there, and I feel more like my dad now than I ever felt. I feel, and his words always say, he had this saying, all roads lead, and I've got it on a thing in the shed in front of me, and he's so right, because the path might not always go the way you expect it to go. Your journey might not always go the way that you expect it to go, or try to control the outcome to be. But eventually it gets you to the right place,
to where you intended to be. I love that. He was a wise man. And I love that you feel now you can see there's so much of your dad, and his gregarious, open, extroverted energy is part of you as well.
And it's ongoing, isn't it? I mean, I feel that I'm at the point now that I want more. The business has been established for, the business has actually been established for just over 18 months, but in its current model, if you like, it's been really about a year that it's been established. And I've pivoted, and I've learned so much over the last year from a business perspective, because owning and running a business is very different to being an employee within a business. But at the same time, I've also been working on all of my mindset and everything with you guys from that perspective. And I think, if I'm completely honest, I'm at that point now where I thought, not that I've been coasting, but that I've been going along like this. And now I don't want mediocre now. I want to go up like that. But how you think has a big impact on whether that happens or whether you continue coasting, which is why I'm so excited to be doing the Mind Coding Practitioners, because we go quite deep within the elite group anyway, don't we? But this is it's going to take most importantly, it's going to be for me and my own development, because it's always ongoing, isn't it? And different levels bring different devils, and it doesn't mean to say just because we've done all of this work with you up to this point, things still come along, don't they? They still come along to challenge you.
Oh my God, of course it does. Like, your mind is like, it's a constantly evolving piece of kit that we need to always be on top of what's the latest software upgrade that we need to be like optimum performance in our life.
Yeah, definitely. And I think so it's only going to make everything that I've already learned today, and the tools I've put in, that I can put into place. The difference now is that I still have days, sometimes weeks. I mean, last week and the week before was a classical. I was in a bit of a funk. Now
it was the eclipses. It wasn't you, it was the eclipses.
Yeah, we'll blame that. Right. The difference now compared to 4 years ago is that I can pull myself out of that now. I can recognize I recognize the triggers. I know what I need to do now to get myself out of that funk, and that's sort of like been key, because years ago I'd have stayed in that funk forever, or it would have been something that would have been put in that suitcase, and I'd be starting to fill that suitcase up again. And that's the difference. And
before we go more about mind codes, I'm going to read some of these messages out because they're lush, Mel. So for many of us, it's a time to realize we can do things for ourselves and have the choices to empower, change and empower ourselves. And for me, lead other women to do the same. I love that. It says Facebook user, so I don't know who it is. I'm so sorry. But yeah, we're talking about the being in the 50s now, right? So would love to come and join your group chats. Tell me who it is. This could be an option for you. The thing is, we have Voxer for the mastermind, and it's just amazing, isn't it, Mel? Like, because obviously Mel's in the mastermind, Mel's in all of our spaces, because she's just so committed to the constant evolution of, like she said, new level, new devil. You launch a business, then you want to expand it, and then you want to pivot. You might want to change the model, and then you want to create more earnings from it, or you want to hire a team, or there's constantly, isn't there something else that you have got to grow into before you see it in reality? And that's what Mel's really excellent at, getting clear on what that is, doing the inner work, and then seeing it reflected in the outer world. Toxic positivity isn't real and definitely a female trait of responsibility, society, belief and pressures. Yeah, it's awful. And we see people doing it, and it's honestly when you just smile and find and okay yourself through really difficult life situations, you are literally building up disease in your body. Like 100%, I believe that 100%, because you just like, it's like a pressure cooker in your body that you're just putting stuff down, and your body holds and retains so much of this toxic examples and toxic experiences and isn't allowed to process it. And we will be teaching a lot about that in the Mind Coding Practitioners as well, how it shows up in your body. Oh, can't see Mel. So relatable. I've done so much work on this and have worked out a way of reading this. I think I have a gift of helping people with my peer support skills to help people with this. Would love to create a coaching business to incorporate this, but it's the tech that I fear. Oh my God, the tech is the least of your problems. Let me tell you, the tech is the least of your problems. You are amazing, Mel. Yes, you are.
Oh, thank you.
Give yourself a kick up the arse. Oh, hi, Sharon. Hi, love. Hi. Yes, she is awesome. And this is why. So you did the work, you joined the mastermind, you're in the programs, and you set up the business. The business is incredibly successful. And just tell people about, we're in the shed, which is the creative gift shed, the business. And we call Mel the gifting goddess. She got it on the neon sign behind her. You can see the GG. So, but just tell people what your business does now and why we're so in love with it.
Yeah, so I work with, as I say, I turned my people pleasing that crippled me and paralyzed me. I've actually flipped that on its arse now, and it's become my business. It's what my business.
It is literally the business.
About people pleasing, but it's helping and supporting my clients who are all predominantly female entrepreneurs, business owners, coaches, consultants, and it's through gifting solutions. But as I say, it's much more than just a gift. It's helping them, my client, to really deepen the connections that they have with their clients. Yeah. So I've got clients who are coaches who have group programs or do one-to-ones. So they'll between us, we'll put together these beautiful boxes to send to their clients to thank them and to welcome them on board.
Which is what we do when people join our world, don't they? When they come into our mastermind or one-to-one programs with you, it's like we get excited because we know they're going to get a mailbox, and we always put something. We do the bespoke usually, don't we? Where there's something special in. It's an extension of our brand. It's like us showing up on the doorstep with a hug. That's how we feel when we know that they're going to get one of your boxes.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's all about embodying the emotion and sentiment that my clients want to show to their clients, along with, that the gifts are really, the items that we put in the boxes are really carefully thought through to embody all of that. So I do that. I do events. So I've got some boxes at a really big event next week in London, which is quite exciting. And so I've done events, I do a lot of onboarding, and then key life moments as well. So, and I've done this for you and for other that had babies. So we've sent, a really nice gift so that, and it's coming from the heart. It's not sending a gift for sending a gift's sake. So that's where I'm at the moment. And I've got loads that I want to do sort of in the future, which is all linked back to the other reason for me sort of taking this my own personal development and growth even further.
So mind coding, and if you're not connected with Mel, you need to be. And if you're watching, like we never, whenever there's an event or something where like, Mel, can you do a box? Like that's the default. Someone has a baby, Mel, can you do a box? Someone moves house, Mel, can you do a box? Mel gets divorced, Mel, can you do us a box? Because it's like there's a celebration, and it's like a part of our ritual now that we know that we get to like extend that piece of love from us through you into that, and they can always feel it, which is like what I absolutely love. Yes, and there's so many opportunities. And Mel, when we started doing Mind Coding Practitioner, and I remember speaking about this when we're at one of our shadow retreats, and saying like, when we do a certification, we don't just want it to be like, this is how you coach. Like what we're doing in Mind Coding Practitioner isn't like this is how you do a coaching session. Actually, one of the bonuses is to help you if you've got a coaching business, if you want to start or scale from 0 to 100K. But the Mind Coding Practitioner program is an accredited certification. And the reason Mel's on it is, one, first and foremost, because it's your personal development, isn't it? It's like understanding the how and the workings of mind. And by mind, I don't mean brain. We mean like the whole thing, like how your subconscious mind, universal mind operates in, through, and for you, and how that's manifesting out and showing up in your results. Like we're going to be breaking down how that works, how we create change, and how we work all of this power that we have within us to create specific results in our life. And so Mel is someone who doesn't let chance anymore just to carry her along in life. Like she very much wants to be a conscious creator in her life. So being in a program like this, when you understand how to literally code your mind to the result that you want, like giving it a set of coordinates so it can go off and do its thing, is like so key. And that's why she's joining. It's not because she wants to sit and coach someone today. Like you're always your first client, first and foremost. And you're working with people all the time. Like Mel has a product-based company, but you are with people all the time. So when you can see people and understand them and understand how they're communicating, what, you know, when you can see and understand like how their coding is coming out at you right now, you can help them so much easier and help yourself to communicate them with them, because you're looking at it and you can see where they're at, you can see where you're at, and it makes you much more influential in your life. So I'm so excited to see how, and like, who knows what else you'll do with it in future, Mel.
Like, I've got a few ideas.
Oh, I love it. It's a disability money a bit, but I'm trying to find avenues as I know I'm manifesting. Yes, I love that. Keep manifesting. Can I add her on the Facebook group? I don't know who that is. Sorry. Let me know. Yeah, drop us. Yeah, ask the team. Brilliant. Sounds just like me. Yeah. So Mind Coding Practitioner starts on the 14th of May. Sign up right now. It's open until this Friday. I can't believe it. Like, it's because we've been working on it for months. It's like on Friday, the doors close. And right now, the biggest bonus, there are other bonuses, one of them being the program where it's like 5 steps from 0 to 100K in your coaching business. But again, even if you haven't got a coaching business, like I know Mel's in that, and you'll get so much from it, because it's about how you're having conversations. It's about how you're packaging up your program. Even like Mel with your boxes and stuff, isn't it? It's like, even though your business is this product-based business, you're not a coach. And a lot of our clients have different kinds of businesses. They're not all coaches. Whereas I see a lot of coaches who only work with coaches. You guys in the mastermind have all different kinds of businesses, but 99% of it is mindset, isn't it? Like when you want to raise your prices, or you go, well, actually, no, I don't want to charge £20 for this anymore. Actually, I'd love to charge £100, but I can't. It's mindset. It's not the fact that you can't charge that. It's the fact that you believe you can't.
It's all laced together, isn't it? And that's, you know, that's for me why it was just a no-brainer for me, because, you know, as I'm leveling up, as I get to the point, you know, there's so much that I want to do with the business in its current form, but there's other stuff that I want to do. I want to pass on, I want to pass forward everything that I've learned, use my story, you know, to help other people, to inspire other people.
Yeah.
But to make that happen, to create that, your mind has got to be programmed in the right way, because it's fear. It's only fear that stops you from, and it all has a link back to limiting beliefs and all of that. So it was a no-brainer.
I mean, where are you going to be? Like 16 weeks of mind coding training. Can you imagine? Oh my God. Like, look out, world.
Heroes on its way.
I can't wait. I cannot wait. And thank you so much for all the Face Everything and Recover, 100%. Thank you so much for joining in. If you're watching this on replay, make sure that you drop some comments. Make sure you connect with Mel. Go and check out the Gifting Goddess. I'm going to have to wipe my nose. I feel like my nose is running. Where's the best place to find you, Mel? Would you prefer Instagram, LinkedIn, both?
You can find me just under my name, Mel Leslie. Instagram and Facebook, if you just type the Creative Gift Shed, you'll find me on there.
Honestly, Amazing. I love you so much. I cannot bloody wait to say where this program takes you. This certification is going to ignite new levels of just creative genius and also fun for you. Like, I can just see so many different ways it's going to take you.
Because we've got Manchester next week in between all of that.
I keep forgetting. We were talking about, was with the team earlier, like organising Manchester for next week. I'm like, I keep forgetting we're all going to be in the room next week. 50 unicorns gathering in the room next week so far. And there are still tickets. We're at the Malmaison on Thursday, isn't it, Mel? The 25th of April.
Yeah.
So I'll drop the link below for Mind Coding, and I'll also drop it below for Manchester. But Mind Coding enrollment closes on Friday. So if you want to be in and save £2,000, jump in now, because now really is your time. Mel, thank you for coming and sharing another piece of your heart with us today. And thank you everyone for joining us. And we'll see you all very soon. Bye.